What's up guys, Mikey with Padbangers.com, and today we're gonna check out the Novation Circuit Groovebox. Let's go! Right, here we have it, Novation's latest Groovebox, the Circuit. Let's talk a little bit about the box itself. First, it's made of plastic, but it's very nice quality. It's actually has some weight to it. It's heavier than you would think when you look at it. On the back, we have two 6.3 millimeter output ports. We have MIDI in and out. And there's some adapters included, so you can use your standard 5-port MIDI cables here. There's a USB port, power supply, and a power button on the back. On the front, we have a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack. Don't know why they didn't use a 6.3 millimeter output here. You need an adapter to use your headphones with it, but yeah, could be worse. On the side here, we got a Kensington lock. And we got the port for the 6 AA batteries. If you don't want to use a power supply or USB cable to power it up, you can use it with batteries. That's what we're actually doing right now. And as you can see, it works just fine. The LEDs are very bright. That's very nice. On the top, we have one very big filter knob. We have 8 macro knobs, which are multi-purpose knobs. So these are endless encoders. Indicated by LEDs to represent the value. I think I would prefer it if they would put a little like these LED rings around it so you can see a little bit the exact value of it. The color of the LED gives you an indication, but it's not very accurate. Never mind, these knobs have multiple functions depending on which part of the synthesizer you are. So in the mixer, they become your volume controls. In the effects section, these become the effects amount knobs. The master volume, of course, gives you master out. On the right side, we have menu buttons to enter the different parts of the synth, like the pattern mode, mixer, effects. You got a record and a play button. On the left side, we got note button to play the actual notes on the synth. We got a velocity setting for each note and a gate. Also nudge and length for the pattern mode. And on the top, we have a few edit buttons like octave up, down, the tempo button, swing, clear for the pattern, duplicate for the pattern, and our save button for the session. There's no display on this device because there are no hidden menus. The only thing we have is the shift button, because some of the knobs here have multiple functions, but actually everything is very, very easy to memorize. And if you have worked with other Grooveboxes or drum machines before, you won't take long until you get the circuit, because the learning curve is very flat. So sound-wise, what do we have here? We got two synthesizers based on the legendary Novation Nova engine, and we got 4 slots for drum sounds. These are actually sample-based, and unfortunately there's no way to load your own samples into it, but there are quite a lot of sounds, basic bread and butter drum sounds, 808-ish, 909-ish sounds you can use with this machine. Sound-wise, I would say this is definitely made for house musicians or EDM musicians in general. For hip-hop producers, there's not much going on unless you're doing trap, so you're using the same 808, 909 sounds the EDM guys would use. But in general, I wish there would be a little bit more variety. Don't get me wrong, you can do a lot with these sounds and you can tweak the samples, but in the end, a little bit more variety would be good here. So let's check out the workflow here. So let's go to our synth 1, and you see you have 32 pads to edit your sound. On the bottom 2 rows, this is the step sequencer. The top 2 rows are the actual, are like a keyboard. So from left to right, these are the keys. 2 octaves, you can use the octave up and down buttons to change that. Or you can use the shift and note button to expand that view, and now you have 4 octaves to play your sound. You can turn on the drums and record this live into the pattern. Or you can use the step sequencer, and it's actually pretty simple. You hold down the step you want to use, you enter the note. And you can edit these steps later. For example, if you hold it down and you go to velocity, now the top root rows indicate the velocity, so you can lower the velocity or maximize it. Also, there's a gate function. With that, you can decide how long your note is until the next note is reached. So it can either be 1/16 note or like the full length. When you play your sounds, there's also a scales feature available. So you hold down, you press scales, and you come to scale mode, and you can choose your root key. And then on the bottom, you have various scales available. You have to check the manual which scale is on which pad. I think the first one here is minor, so that's fine for me. I stick to that. And so now I would be in E minor, for example. That's pretty nice. So pretty cool. When you hold down Shift and click on the synth, you come to the preset page, and then each pad here is one new sound. let's keep this sound for now. We go back to note. And now, when we have decided what sound we have, we can use the 8 macro knobs to tweak that sound. The thing is, you never know what effect or what function is behind each macro knob. And they're always different depending on the preset so you choose. And so you have to experiment with these sounds, and there are a lot of happy accidents going on when you have a nice sound. The downside is it's nearly impossible to reproduce that exact sound when you're in another session. So that's yeah, you really have to think about if you like that. I think it would be a little bit better if these knobs at least would have the same functions, like filters always on one, envelope on two, stuff like that, but it's always different. Now let's tweak some knobs and see what we come up with here. Let's add some swing to this. I hold down the swing button, and now the first knob here can change the swing. And as you can see, that's really nice. The pads here showing me now the values of the swing. That sounds pretty good. Add some drums. So in drum mode, this is also very interesting. You get 2-step sequencers for both drum sounds, drum 1 and 2, or for drum 3 and 4, which is actually pretty nice in a live situation where you don't have to switch channels back, because you get 2 channels at once. So if I'm on drum 1, the upper 2 rows are for drum 1, the lower 2 rows are for drum 2. Let's add some drums in here. If you want to change drum sounds, same procedure, hold down Shift, tap on the synth pad, and now you can change drums. Now here the selection is a little bit different. You get bass sounds and kick drums and snares combined in this preset, so you can add 2 kick drums like so. If they would have at least changed the colors of the LEDs so you know exactly, now these are kick drums, these are snare sounds, but that way you have to try out which sound is what. Let's go back to note mode. And now we also can tweak our drum sounds here. So the first 4 knobs are tweaking the drum sound 1, the second 4 macro knobs are tweaking drum sound 2. These are always tweaking sound the same way. So the first knob is the pitch, then we have the decay, then we have a distortion, and we have a filter. Let's tweak the drum sounds a little bit. So also super easy to get more sounds out of these few samples that are included in here. Same with drum 3 and 4. These are now for percussive sounds like hi-hat, rim shots, and tom sounds and stuff like that. So let's add a hi-hat here and maybe choose another sound for drum 4. We also got a sidechain function here, which works super easy. So for synth 1, we just go to sidechain. Now we got a row of 8 pads, and the more you dial in, the harder the pumping effect goes, and it's all triggered by drum 1. So let's choose like a middle amount of this. You see it works instantly. The filter knob is a combined low pass, high pass filter. It cuts out very steep. I would say if you turn it down more than 2/3 of the way, you don't hear anything anymore. So it cuts out very, very hard. Same on the other side. So you can blend it in very nice into your in other tracks playing from other hardware. Now there's also of course a mixer. You got mute and volume control for each of your tracks. Not very spectacular. Does exactly what you would expect from it. And also there's an effects section with a delay and reverb. Also, you don't have much control over the sound. There are a lot of presets, so you have 16 presets for the delay and 8 presets for the reverb. And the way it works is, I'm gonna show it to you with the snare. So you select one of the presets, and what you do is you dial it into that sound. So from very short to very long delays is everything possible. Same with the reverb. The more you come to the right, the lower the tail of the reverb gets. So let's start. And that's also a special thing. Now when I'm selecting a preset down here, I'll hold down. Now the same knob becomes my volume knob for that effects volume, which in a live situation, of course, can be a little tricky because you have one knob for 2 functions. Well, it is what it is. It works okay for me, but it makes you a little bit slow in a live situation. So let's check out some reverbs here. The quality of the sound effects is actually pretty good. Reverb sounds nice and full, and the delay is also not that bad. Now, when you have your pattern ready and you want to arrange a little bit more, you come to the pattern mode. Pretty simple. Each pad is one pattern. If you have multiple, you can combine these in the playback. So let's say you have 5 patterns available. So you hold down pattern 1 and pattern 5, and it will play in that order, then start again from the beginning. You can duplicate existing patterns. You can clear patterns, of course. And if you're done with your arrangement and stuff like that, and you want to save your sound, you can either, you hold down the session button and you choose save. Now it starts blinking, and I want to save it to this empty song pad here. Save it right here, and it's saved. Pretty simple. If you're on that pad already, you want to save it right there, you can just hit save 2 times and it's stored. Right, so here's my verdict on the Novation Circuit. So first of all, quality-wise, excellent. The box feels very good. The pads are very responsive. Very good knobs. Very nice and large filter button. I like that. You get a headphone output. You can run it from batteries. You get your regular 6.3mm outputs. You can use normal MIDI with the adapters that are included. Very nice. So this is pretty good. Now, I forgot to mention this thing has a built-in speaker. In my opinion, it's totally useless. It doesn't sound very good. It's not very loud. I don't know why they put it in. Maybe you like that gimmick. I'm not a fan of it, but I don't want to judge it. It doesn't make this. It doesn't make the box worse. I just don't see the point why they put it in. The workflow on the other side is something I don't know where to see this. Do I see it in the studio? For me personally, to have fun with it and jam with it and experiment in sound, definitely. To use it in the actual production, it's kind of hard for me because for me personally, the 8 macro knobs wouldn't be enough. I like to tweak my synths with way more options just the way I want it. For a live situation, I think it could work very good, but it's a little bit hard to recreate the sound from these 8 macro knobs in the projects because you have to experiment with the sound and you never remember what you actually tweaked on the sound. So that's a little bit different. But maybe you're in a situation where you're in a live audience, maybe in a DJ set, and you just want to jam a little bit to give your whole show a fresh touch. I can definitely see Circuit working for you. So yeah, that's it. Novation Circuit, nice little Groovebox. Check it out for yourself. Let me know what you think. Write me some comments on what you think about it. Follow me on facebook.com/Padbangers, Instagram, Twitter @Padbangers. And I hope to see you guys next time. Peace out.